Good morning, I'm Harley Schlanger from the LaRouche Organization with your daily video update for September 7th, 2023. Today I'm going to take up the question of what happened to Germany. It's clear Germany is heading toward an economic implosion, possibly an extremely hot autumn with strikes, with tremendous anger in the population. And in my weekly dialogue with Helga Zepp-LaRouche yesterday, we took up this question of what happened to Germany? Remember, Germany was once the economic driver of Europe, the key power in the European Union. It had incredible productivity based on energy-intensive industry, powered by scientific advance and technological breakthrough, high-quality engineering, modern infrastructure, a skilled labor force due to excellent education system, and a budget surplus and a trade surplus based on the export of capital goods. The capital goods exports were extremely important because Germany is short of raw material resources. But because of the economic policies that were implemented in the late 1870s by Bismarck, which were modeled on the American system of economics, credit for industry, for manufacturing, and so on, and high labor standards, Germany was able to maintain an economic powerhouse which ran it into trouble with the British, who feared the German-Russian potential to overtake the power of British sea power. So what we're seeing today in the collapse of Germany is, in a sense, a revenge of the British based on the return to geopolitics. Now, some people argue that immigration is the problem. And this was during the Merkel regime when immigrants poured in from the Middle East. But the fact of the matter is, had the German economy sustained its growth rate of the preceding period, it could have afforded the immigration. That is, it wasn't the expenditures on immigrants that caused the problem. It was the shutdown of the economic policies which led to German industrial advance and development. So what really happened? Well, first you have the green policy. And anybody who knows anything about Germany knows that the population has bought into the whole green idea, that the human race is responsible for climate change, that we're polluting the planet, that industry is the problem, that coal, nuclear power, fossil fuels, these are the problems. And if we only went back to a primordial nature with hunting and gathering society, everything would be fine. Do you think I'm exaggerating? Just take a look at the videos of German greenies who glue themselves to the pavement to try to stop traffic. Look at the destruction of the German auto industry, and you get a sense that the Greens are conducting an insane policy leading to deindustrialization in Germany. There's been a shift from efficient, dependable energy, coal, fossil fuels, and nuclear, to inefficient, undependable energy, wind and solar. The German countryside has been made ugly by the proliferation of windmills and solar panels. Now, add to that the green regulations, which are putting incredibly extra costs on construction, on manufacturing. The construction industry is going broke in Germany. You have then, add to this, the loss of cheap Russian oil and gas due to sanctions and also the blowing up of the Nord Stream pipeline. Then you have the sanctions, which have cut back Germany's trade with Russia and threatened Germany's trade with China, as the European Union is moving on a so-called de-risking strategy, which means no trade with China. Then you have to add to this the free market economic policies, especially in this current administration. The emphasis on a budget surplus rather than on investment in the future, in new technologies. A reversal of the American system credit policy, which made Germany the strongest economy in Europe. and was the base of the German 1950s, 60s economic miracle. And finally, the shift of spending into defense and the war, funding of Ukraine. As a result of these policies, you have higher energy prices and inflation, and industrial cutbacks leading to deindustrialization. About 16% of German firms have left the country. Another 1/3 of German companies in the so-called Mittelstand, the mid-size and small industry, which is really the driver through the machine tool sector of the economy, are thinking of leaving to China, to the US, to anywhere other than the energy-starved, inflation-ravaged Germany. Now, as a result of this, people are angry. They're saying, what happened to our country? How do we have a government that doesn't recognize that what's going on? And what Helga said in the discussion yesterday is that the political leaders of Germany are know-nothings and weak figures. It reminds me of the old 1960s comedy show in America, Hogan's Heroes, with Sergeant Schultz, who constantly said, "I see nothing, I know nothing." That's the Chancellor Schultz today response to the Nord Stream pipeline bombings. He doesn't want to know. There's no investigation. This was an attack on a sovereign Germany to take away its energy efficiency and energy self-sufficiency. By doing this, it's forcing the deindustrialization, and Schultz and his government turn their back on the investigation that should be taking place. They reject Seymour Hersh's claim, which Schultz should know, that the United States was involved in the destruction of the North Sea pipeline because it forced Germany to fund the Ukraine war, and it also forced the deindustrialization in Germany and forced Germany to purchase much higher priced liquefied natural gas from the United States. So why did this happen? Well, besides the ideology that I've just gone through, you have to recognize that the target of British geopolitics from the 1880s to the present was to beat down Germany. And their fear was that a German industrial powerhouse linked with the raw material capability of the Eurasian heartland would overpower the control of trade and investment and money based in Great Britain. So it was the British Empire's geopolitical strategy to keep Germany separated from France and from Russia, to prevent a German-Eurasian alliance, and to force the situation that Germany would be at odds with the other countries and unable to develop. Now, this is what was behind World War I, the breakup of the Franco-German alliance, the severing of the relationship between the German Kaiser and the Russian Tsar, British financing of Japan for the Russo-Japanese War to weaken Russia, and then ultimately the adoption of the Triple Entente of Britain, France, and Germany, Britain, France, and Russia against Germany. Then, after World War I, there was the Versailles Agreement. And what was Versailles about? Again, deindustrializing Germany. When the Germans went to Rapallo in Italy to sign an agreement with the Soviet Union to expand German-Soviet trade, the driver of that policy, Walter Rathenau, the foreign minister, was assassinated. And eventually the Rapallo Treaty came to nothing, which led to the German hyperinflation, the chaos during the 20s, and then the Anglo-Americans, including the Bush family, the Harriman family, Montague Norman of the Bank of England, and others, pushed through the Hitler administration with the idea that they would use Hitler to go to war against the Soviet Union and destroy both of those countries. After World War II, there was an effort to keep Germany from reindustrializing. Fortunately, Franklin Roosevelt opposed that, and we had in the 1950s and 60s the German economic miracle, which was based on the return to American system banking and credit policies of investment in infrastructure, in fair trade, not free trade, not free market policy, but protecting industry. And that led to the German economic miracle. But what got in the way of that, again, was British geopolitics. The first Secretary General of NATO, Lord Ismay, who was appointed by Winston Churchill in 1952, is known for his famous statement that the purpose of NATO is to keep the Soviet Union out of Europe, keep the United States in, and keep Germany down. That's the NATO policy today. And what Helga concluded in our discussion yesterday is the solution for Germany would be to join the BRICS, to get back to the alliance with Russia, not as an anti-American alliance, but as a pro-German sovereignty alliance, so that the German industry could once again be geared up to engage in the export of the capital that's needed for the development of Africa, Asia, and South American countries. So I'm going to attach the link to my discussion with Helga yesterday. If you're German, think about it. Think about why you're silently tolerating the destruction of your nation. And if you live in the rest of the world, draw the conclusion that it's the British geopolitics which has put us on the verge of a nuclear war and a financial and economic collapse. Now, tomorrow's Friday. I'll take your questions. Send them to me at harleysch@gmail.com. Take your questions and your comments, and we can have a discussion. So thanks for joining me today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Hello. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Support our independence to produce videos like these. Become a member of the LaRouche Organization at theLarouche.org/member. By becoming a member for $25 or more, you'll get special access to the EIR Alert Daily Briefing and Weekly Magazine, which is what I read to stay on top of things.